horoscope for the week of August 21st, where this week I dig the energy because we're actually bookended at the beginning and the end of this week in the Libra vibration, which is very, very cool because it means that whatever you need to do, whatever we're trying to get done this week, whatever needs to be tended to, we've got some sociability in our favor, right? We've got some teamwork makes the dream work spirit to work with. And there's just been so much going on. We've had this Venus retrograde. We're getting ready every week. We're getting closer and closer to the eclipse energy where we're wrapping up another cycle. So there's been a lot of reflection of the self and what do I want and what are my goals and where do I value myself that's needed to be on the table that has inevitably brought things back for review, but also brought things into the table and people to the table to get things done. But we also have to be able to work with people to get things done. And the other thing I think about, not only this week, but over and over and over again, one of the things I'm seeing in the patterns of the energies is clarity. We are being called to a what is your current value? What do you value? How do you value yourself? And what does that mean for you? Clarity, clarity, clarity. And I know on my side, with this Venus retrograde, I have had a ton of clarity, and we're not even to October when we're going to leave the post-retrograde shadow time, so I cannot even imagine. Please let me know in the chat or in the comment section down below, what is the clarity that this season is bringing to you, and how is that changing the course of your life? Because over here, I'm telling you, it is changing dynamics of relationship, finance, and even how I boldly, Venus, confidently receive Leo, and let it just be the receiving of that sun energy, receiving of Venus in Leo. It is changing the dynamics of my life, of my business, of myself with myself with other women. I mean, it is absolutely phenomenal. So I'm very curious, what are you seeing that's coming up in your dynamics? Because the clarity piece is still on the table for us. But this week, I do think what the cosmos have to offer is a little bit more, not just the clarity, but the willingness to take action with others that we have some of that clarity about. Very cool. Let's get in here and let's talk about what's going on this week. And one of the things that is going on this week that I'll make sure when the live is done, I put a link in the description box down below, but I've got a live event going on. It is live and it is private. It'll be held by Zoom. So if you want to join, you can put your little registration in, and we're going to have a new astrologer come and talk to us about not only some of the Saturn cycles and what happens when you're getting older and that Saturn cycle after the age of 60, but also the role that Saturn plays in your dream life and the link between astrology and your dream life. It's woven together in a really beautiful way, and I'm really excited to usher you guys this woman. She's absolutely fantastic, has been working outside of the realm of astrology for years and years and years, helping other people in their transformation, and is now bridging the gap with her astrology and her history of her work, and it is just something delicious. So if you've got questions there, if you're in the over 40 crowd and you're like, what am I doing with my life? If you're in the over 60 crowd and you're like, whoa, what's going on? If dream life and the dream world is something that you are tapped in and connected with or want to understand more, it's going to be a lovely talk that we're going to be having this week. I'll make sure I put that registration link in the description box down below. And last thing I want to tell you about before I actually talk about the aspects this week is I am very, very excited that as we get into the September vibration, I have a new course I will be rolling out to you. And this is going to be about those receptive qualities of Venus. How do we receive and how do we use Venus and engage Venus to clean out our sacred bowl area? How do we release past traumas? How are we using Venus to bring harmony to those reproductive organs? Whether you still have them or not, we're going to invoke and invite Venus into the actual body, because something gorgeous and delicious, and it's like honey, it's like butter, happens when we can open up these receptive qualities. Not to mention how many of us have been feeling the imbalance of dynamics, of energy dynamics on this planet, and that means the body's been taking it on. So we're going to invite Venus to come on into our space together, and we're going to do a little clear out and also do some restoring in it. It is a brand new program that I have built, and I was like, who wants that? And then it turns out I wanted to build it, and I have something to give to you. So I can't wait to bring you more information on that, and we are going to travel with that later as we get closer to September. Okay, let's get into the week and talk about these beautiful aspects that are available to us. First and foremost, like I said, we're bookended with this Libra energy as we're traveling in this dynamic this week. So as we open the week, we're coming in with the moon energy in Libra, okay? So moon and Libra energy, first of all, when we're dealing with the moon, one of the things to remember is we're going into the internal life, okay? This is the internal world that we're dealing with. If you're looking at it from the perspective of mundane astrology, the moon governs the people. So even you can think of it that way. The people around you are also being governed by a Libra vibration. So something that we've got, we've got this desire for harmony, for teamwork makes the dream work, for knowing that we've got a little bit more balance and beauty happening in our lives, which is absolutely brilliant because it means we're motivated from the inside out to be working in tandem or unison or partnership with other energies. Now, something else that can happen in my experience, because we all experience the Libra energy in a 28-day period. So you have to look at where it's actually happening in your chart. Okay, but one of the things that I do notice when the moon is in Libra for me is that I can sense and I can pick up on a lot more quickly when something is out of balance, whether it's, and I'm a Virgo rising, so I offer that as well. But like if my pictures are crooked or if the spice thing is not right, and somehow it like gets me internally, and that's always a refocusing. When I can see imbalance, when I can see injustice, when I can see a lack of beauty outside of me, where is that driving back home in me? And I've maybe got something that's out of balance. But the same is true in the other way. When I'm looking at something and I'm like, wow, that is absolutely gorgeous. I see the symmetry of it. I see the beauty in something that maybe looks like it's ugly. That comes back to me as well, where it's like, yeah, just a whole regular ass person, and I'm beautiful and I like that. So let me know in the comment section down below, do you have like a particular moon time, like the moon traveling through a particular sign where you're really peaked to the energy? It's like, boop, I know what's going on over here. Because for me, it's definitely some of that Libra energy, okay? Now we've also got the sun, our giver of light, heat, life, and vitality, shining, doing its thing. We're motivated, but it is formed into a quincunx with Pluto. Okay, so this is, first of all, what you want to know is that Pluto is retrograde. So we are uncomfortable with something from our past. Okay, whatever it is, it's been the past, the way you've behaved, the way you made money, the way you authored and told your story, something that was an authority in your life, and now that dynamic is not working. It's like I'm having to make constant adjustment here, but the adjustment, because the quincunx creates, I like to call it the picnic table aspect. If you've ever seen it, it looks like this. It looks like a little triangle with a cross atop, a line atop, a horizontal line across the top of it. And so I call this the picnic table aspect, okay? Because what happens is you got to come to the table with that thing that you're trying to adjust. You're uncomfortable. I feel like I just can't negotiate this, because these two energies don't actually understand each other innately. So you've got to find a way to navigate with it, right? So you come to the picnic table and you go, okay, for us to make any progress, what needs to change? What needs to happen here? How do we negotiate it? And it also, a quincunx will take you outside of your comfort zone. And it's not all exciting like Uranus, right? Like Uranus is like, I'm outside of the comfort zone. I'm being flexible and open-minded. It's not like that. A quincunx is like, no, if you would like to change your body composition, you have to work out. And yes, squats are uncomfortable. It's that kind of conversation. But then in the end, when you can get them on board, what happens? you do your squats, you recomposition your body, your booty gets cute, and we like the outcome, right? So whatever that analogy is for you in your head, come to the picnic table on Monday, because while you're willing to work with the energies around you and you're motivated from that inside out, in order to change, you're likely being presented with, no, you've got to get outside of your comfort zone and get uncomfortable, and you've got to deal with this place where it kind of digs in a little bit, where we have to address why we think we need to stay comfortable, especially in the material realm, Pluto in Capricorn. Why I'm still holding this? What am I afraid I'm not going to get? What am I afraid I'm going to lose? What am I afraid is going to be taken to me? You know, for me, you guys, just straight up, you know, I've spoken about it many times, but I meet with my spiritual teacher every Sunday. We get eyeball to eyeball, okay? And everything for me comes down to this fear of death, really a fear of death. Right? Because I'm like, I don't want to go. There's so much I want to learn. There's so much I want to do. Like when I really walk, I'm like, oh, I'm afraid to go to the gym. No. And we track that thing all the way down. This fear of death, right? And so where do I have to negotiate a quincunx of something like this? Is it's coming into the space of reconnecting with the universe and nature as death as a natural process to soften the adjustment. But it takes walking through what it takes walking through in order to let something go and lose the fear, shed the fear, outgrow the fear, and then welcome in the negotiation of change so that I can take practical action in the material world, Capricorn. So it's a great day on Monday to look at what's governing you. That is what I will say. Now, as we're coming to the end of the day on Monday, we're going to see the moon move into a void of course position. So rest, relax, restore. Okay, restore. Just let yourself restore, let it go, finish things. The void of course time is not the time for let's hustle hard and do more things. Now, for some people, especially if you are particularly moon sensitive or you track your moon, you may find that you're actually quite productive during the void of course time because the world like shuts down. You know what I mean? Like the energy goes whoop. Nothing to see here, and you're able to get a lot of things done without so many talk, text, emails, thoughts, maybe even your mind and your emotions slow down a little. So if that's you, because I know that our friend Robin from Wicked Veracity, she talks about that in some of her lunar teachings, and we have those lunar teachings here on the Stormie Grace Astrology channel. So go check out the lunar phases with Robin. You can check it out. Lots of learning available. But she does talk about how she loves a void of course moon because nothing's really going on, so nobody's in her space, and she can get a lot done. So let me know if that's you. When the moon is void of course for me, I'm trying to take a siesta somewhere. I'm on the chill. Okay, when we roll into Tuesday, now we've got Venus in this really neat aspect with Jupiter. The benefics are squaring against each other. Okay, so Venus is retrograde in the energy of Leo. So Venus is flipped around. Now remember, if you have Venus retrograde in your chart, the Venus retrograde period is likely pulling you more out. You're coming more externally into what you're manifesting, to what's happening around you, right? And when I say out, the rest of us are like coming in and having to review our values and rebalance and be a little bit bold and confident. And really, it's in how we receive. We're getting this all reset so that as we go out, we can receive what we now value. If you have Venus retrograde in your chart, you are outwardly needing to get out here and start attracting, right? Let it come to you. Let the reality of your desires come to you. Attract it in. Now, when Venus comes out of retrograde, you'll go back inside and you can work on all that, and we'll all head out into the streets, okay? So just keep that in mind if you've got Venus retrograde in your particular chart. Okay, but Venus retrograde squaring against Jupiter. Now, these are the benefic planets, right? Jupiter has got this big benefit energy. Venus is considered to be the smaller benefic. So, first of all, as these two square against each other, the square is the 911 aspect. It says you need to do something, because if you think about it, you're being squished into the square, right? It's pushing in on you. So you need to do something, but it's always about what do you do. Venus is reflecting on values from the past that may not fit your current reality. Jupiter is not yet retrograde, okay? So Jupiter is like, hey, I'm bringing you an opportunity. I'm bringing you wisdom. I'm bringing you a thought, a philosophy, a belief. But squaring against Venus, Venus is going, I don't believe that anymore. I don't want that particular opportunity. Or if this is an opportunity that is presented to me, I need to be clear that it is not all show. That this is not dressing itself as this exaggerated, excessive, really big, beautiful thing, but then it doesn't actually deliver in alignment with my vibration. Because this is the thing, it's like, just decide who you are and what you want and go out and be that. No, the adjusting of value vibration so that we're attracting what we want sometimes takes us walking up to a thing that we don't want anymore and kind of needing to get a little close to it and then going, oh, wait, I don't want that. There's practice in the adjustment of the vibration, and I think that Venus Jupiter here gives us the opportunity to practice that, because things can just seem excessive or grandiose or really like, oh, that is so big, that's the biggest opportunity, this is the best thing, but then it's bonking against your Venus and you're going, I don't think so. So if there is confusion, if there is something that feels overblown, I would tell you to just take your time. I'm always telling you to take your time. I'm a Taurus. I'm like, just slow down, just, enjoy your life, right? But take your time, because what can also happen is that you're seeing something and you're blowing it out of proportion. Then you make a decision snappily and it's just not really what was in alignment. So take a minute, consider is what you're being presented, who you're being presented in relationships. Have you been going through something and you're talking it out, you're working it out, but what you're being presented is just the same thing in different packaging, and you're like, okay, we're not there yet. But if you just accept it, then the pattern continues, right? So things like that, okay? Now we're also going to see, to just add to the flavor, we're going to see that Mars is in an opposition with Neptune. So this, again, whenever Neptune gets involved, we can have a little confusion come to the table, because I have an idea or an ideal. Now I've got an exaggerated expectation, and these two are coming together. And an expectation is a premeditated resentment. You're gonna be pissed. You're gonna be pissed if the person, place, or thing does not meet the conditions you set up. So we wanna be clear. We wanna be clear, and this can be a little bit hard when we get Jupiter and Neptune in the mix. And now Mars, my desire, how I do things, how I'm getting things done, how I operate, is opposing some ideals that I have, right? So where this can be confusing, I would again caution you, pay attention to the actions you're taking, the motives that you're moving with, and the situations that are being presented to you. But also I would ask you to okay, use Mars in its entirety, because Mars is not retrograde. Mars is not asleep. Mars is on and not drunk at the wheel. So what do you want? What do you want? Because the only way to actualize, to bring together the dreaminess of Neptune, the idea, the ideal, the vision, the healing, the speaking from your ancestors through the spiritual realm, giving you information, the only way to bridge that to the middle with Mars, the action of what I'm doing, is you have to know what it is that you desire and what you want. And now Venus has been retrograde. What have you been revaluing? Oh my gosh, it comes together in this beautiful way. And then instead of feeling the confusion of things, what it can feel like is clarity. I am clear on my values. I am clear on how I would like to get things done. I am clear, a little bit more clear on, what makes me feel full in my life and in my heart and purposeful, right? These are great ways to use that particular opposition. So if there's some confusion, I don't want you to be I don't want you to be defeated, is really what it is. And sometimes we have to experience the defeat to be getting up, right? Okay. Now, to the other side of this, something else I want to point out that Mars-Neptune opposition can be great for is, I was saying, wait, consider what you're doing, is pause. Just pause for a minute and take a spiritual break. Breathe. meditate. You know, what happens for me and for most humans, I've found out, is that when I'm confused or I feel like something's not going the way or I have an expectation that's not being met, I hold my breath. I'll hold my breath. I'll go. And I don't even realize I'm doing it. And then, of course, I'm making decisions, thinking, and engaging from a panic. And it's because I'm a human who has not had a breath, right? So take a minute, pause. That is spiritual nutrition. To just even take a breath is spiritual nutrition. Okay, so oh my gosh, and how many times, like, how many times have I done that? And then, you know, I'm engaging with my husband or one of my children and they're like, who's this lunatic? You know what I mean? And people who aren't breathing are not good. So remember, we've got this opportunity to do a little spiritual nourishing as well. And this will also help to bring clarity and less chaos. Okay, Wednesday is busy. So first of all, happy birthday, Virgo friends. Happy, happy, happy birthday. I am hoping that you took this time during Leo season to rest, to restore, to get yourself prepared for your annual, you know, solar year that you've got, right? Because it's interesting. We say, okay, the calendar year goes from January to December. That's the calendar year. In Western astrology, we count the seasons from April to March, right? That's a full season for us. That's how we're rolling around, right? Excuse me, March, what am I saying? March to February. So, but then we can drop that in a little bit further, Virgo, and you have your birthday to your birthday as your own year. So even there, right, when people are like, oh, you know, we're 8 months, 9 months into the year, what have you done with your life? Or these stories we tell ourselves, or that media feeds us, or people around us feed us. What is your year beginning like? You're in the first moments of your year. All of us are in the first moments of our Virgo placement year for each of us. And what do you want to achieve with that? So just a way to reframe this. But as the sun enters into Virgo for absolutely all of us, Virgo's ruled by Mercury, those lungs. Let's start with breathing. Breathing brings breath, which brings clarity. Inspiration comes from this. But now we're ready to get some things done because it is Virgo season and Virgo does want to do it. Virgo is mutable earth. I am flexible. I am worrying. I am thinking about things too much. I am worrying about how to get it done, but I am earth getting it done. So during this Virgo season, you're getting into the details of things, all right? And the most beautiful thing about being discerning and getting into the details of things in this Virgo season is you will see what to let go. You will see what to bring to its next stage. That's the beauty of mutable energy, is it pries the season from the cold, fixedy hands of the fixed energy that came before it. And it says, okay, let's get ready for our transition to our next cardinal time. Ooh, are you feeling that? So this is what Virgo season has to offer you, a chance to get into the details of things, get discerning what actually needs to be your priority. Clarity is a key feature of Virgo energy. Your health, your wellness, your daily routines. This is on board for all of us. I don't care if you are a Virgo sun in the first house, or if the Virgo placement in your chart lives in the 6th house or the 12th house. What are the details? What is the nourishment that is going on for you? What is the health of that particular area of your chart? This is what you have the opportunity to do and to get organized and to get into the details of that. Now, to just help the team really get organized during this Virgo season, we've got Mercury stepping into retrograde in Virgo on Wednesday as well. So the ruling planet of Virgo season, I love this, the ruling planet of Virgo season is retrograde. So we are going to review it while we also heal it. Now, Mercury is going to take this retrograde at 21 degrees of Virgo, and we're going to track through the Mercury retrograde cycle all the way back to 8 degrees of Virgo, okay? So in your own personal chart, look at that. What is the identification of 21 degrees to 8 degrees of Virgo in your chart. What house is that in? Are you in a Mercury perfection year? Is Mercury prominent in your solar return, your lunar return, your progressed story, right? Look for those degrees because that'll tell you exactly what you're working on, and then you don't have to be so confused when things are coming up. Now, a time that we can think about as well in the pattern tracking of this Mercury retrograde is flashback to August 3rd. So just a couple weeks ago. This is when Mercury got to that 8 degrees of Virgo and it entered its pre-retrograde shadow time. So themes of I need to get this together, I need to get into the details of this. Maybe you were receiving a lot of information. They started to come to the table. Maybe you found out something about your health, right? Or your daily routine. Pets are very, very much so a Virgo kind of energy as well. Whatever it was, the details of things, look at what was coming up for you around that time. Now we're here and Virgo is taking this retrograde on the 23rd, and this is a time for you where everything you've seen from the 3rd until now is really in your review box, okay? We'll see Mercury come out of retrograde on September 15th, and it's going to come out at that 8 degrees of Virgo. And then we'll see Mercury leave the entirety of its retrograde cycle on September 30th. So I'm going to think in your mind from August 3rd to September 30th, I am dealing with the Mercury retrograde energy before Mercury can start to move forward, okay? I also want to take a minute on this very, very busy Wednesday to say happiest birthdays to my oldest brother and to my uncle who are celebrating their birthdays on this time. And man, I'm telling you what, they couldn't be more of a mix of that Virgo Leo energy if we tried. They are two men that I heavily love and absolutely respect. And I just want to say happy birthday to you. Thank you for the demonstration of being a man that you are putting out into the world and that you are providing for your women and your children. So happy birthday with that, and any of you who are also having obviously a birthday, I'm sharing some massive happy birthdays with you as well. Okay, so we had a lot going on just on Wednesday. We better take a look at what is going on Thursday, right? Okay, on Thursday we're going to see the moon get around here and enter into the energy of Sagittarius. Excuse me. We had the moon also move into the energy of Scorpio. So as this was happening and as we've been traveling with this over the last couple days, I think I got so excited about the Virgo. As we've been traveling with this, the moon in Scorpio is really intuitive, really highly intuitive. So in the getting things done and in reviewing, one of the things I really want to encourage you is to trust your gut, trust your intuition. Mercury, our planet of the mind, is moving backwards. We're all moving backwards now, unless of course you have Mercury retrograde in your chart, then you're coming out. But we're all moving backwards. So the perfect processing of the intellect is kind of over here. It might not be as clear. So trust your intuition. What is in alignment here? What's coming up for you? And the other thing that I do like about the moon in Scorpio time is that it's not willing to let it go. It's like, this is a problem. This is a challenge. This needs attention. This is your desire and we want it. And then it brings it up into the light to do something with. It's not just that the moon in Scorpio feels really deeply and, right? It's not just this. It goes, down to the core, and then it pops it to the light transformed and empowered. So I don't ever want us to get this idea on this channel and in this community that moon in Scorpio is just deep and dank. You know, it's deep, it's vulnerable, and it's powerful when it also brings it back to the light for its ultimate transmutation, its ultimate transition, its ultimate transformation, its ultimate empowerment. Okay? Now, when we do travel Thursday, though, then the moon's gotten on into Sagittarius, and that's a little bit more happy, joyous, and free. You know what I'm saying? It's got a little bit more enthusiasm to that particular energy. So as the moon's traveling through Sagittarius, the people, okay, the people in your life are also governed by the Sagittarius moon, right? Because the people in mundane astrology, so there can be a little lift in the spirits of people around you in general. And now at an emotional level, the truths that you've seen, some clarity, some willingness to work together with others is coming together, and you're like, I'm ready. Okay, I can take that magic carpet ride. I can expand past my horizons, and there's a little bit more levity that I think is available and goes along with that. Now, one of the other things I would ask you as the personal check-in for your Sagittarius placement this month is, where do you feel like you do need adventure? Where are you feeling you do need adventure? You want to go on an adventure? Where are you feeling like you just like to have a different experience? Because, you know, not everybody needs to move continent. Okay, that doesn't need to be your story, but sometimes going on a little adventure just means I have this little mustard seed of interest in something else, and you go to the store that sells food that's maybe different than what you normally eat. You try out a recipe. You bring more sage into your life, right? The herb sage, it's got a deep resonance with adventure for me. Maybe you take a dish that you make all the time and you add sage to it, or you add basil and you let it come to another place, right? Your ability to go on the emotional adventure that your spirit is craving is absolutely abundant. And so how do you use this looking at your personal chart? So let's say that you have Sagittarius in your second house, okay? So the house of money, self-worth, value, the things that how you make money, these kinds of things. And the moon is traveling through this section of your chart yet again. What is the way that you can go on an adventure with your money? Well, yes, absolutely. You can go buy something very big. You know, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. It can get really big really fast, right? So yes, you can go make an investment, and if it's the right timing in your chart and your astrology supports that and your intuition supports that, do that. But also something else that you can do is, if you've got to buy bananas this day, right? Or you've got to buy deodorant, okay? Maybe go buy it from a different store, one that you've never been in. Take it as a simple act in your second house. Or maybe, you know, you want to go on an adventure with your money. Look at your budget. Where do you have money that is sitting in a savings account, but you are willing to learn something else? You're willing to expand your horizons. You're like, oh, I could have this in a high yield savings account so that at least my money's not asleep. It's making a little bit of money. My money is not sleepy money, right? So your ability to go on the adventure and feed yourself with that spiritual nourishment and that emotional nourishment doesn't have to be you know, hop in the plane to wherever, you know, pick a place. Okay, so as we're doing the Thursday, Friday energies, what we're going to see is Mars come into a trine with Pluto, who is retrograde. Absolutely love this. Absolutely love this. This is so much energy. This is so much energy to go towards a goal or a design or a desire that you have in your life. Pluto is retrograde. So what is it that you've always wanted? Right? What is it that maybe you didn't even always want it. That's a very long time. Maybe what is it that you have discovered that you value, your clarity that is coming through, and now you are willing to really take action to bring that forward. But what I do like about the trine between Mars and Pluto, as opposed to some other actions, is that you're more likely to want to take action in a way that is not, you're not trying to create an enemy here. And that's what I kind of like about this particular trine. But it is very good. It's good to initiate things. It's good to move some things forward. You know, we've got Mars still traveling in the energy of Virgo at this particular point. The ruling planet of Virgo is retrograde, Mercury. So there is this kind of looking through the past and tidying some things up, but bringing them forward energy that I think is very much so available at this particular time. And you can do a lot with that. So take the actions, whether it is to finish something from the past or you have the action to bring yourself forward. Something else that I can see under this Mars-Pluto trine is, if you have had any doubt about your ability to be a leader in your own life or to take on a leadership role, I think that this trine gives you a bit of courage to do it, to say, wait a minute, I I am good at this, right? Virgo, discernment. What am I good at? What is my priority? What are my real skills and talents? And you can have the confidence to challenge your old thinking here and advance yourself forward in some way, which I think is an absolutely beautiful feature of this particular energy. Okay, now we're also going to see as we creep through the weekend. Oh, this is going to be really nice. First of all, we'll see the sun get into we'll see the moon get into the energy of Capricorn. So now we're getting things together a bit more, right? We're like, okay, what do I need to be emotionally successful? What do I need to be emotionally stable? Where do I need to delegate something? Where do I need to let something go? Because it is Virgo season. So Virgo is happy to go through all of the details of things over and over and over again. And let me know if you've experienced this in your Virgo placements, that it's like that mind is going then we have a little chant, be the change you want to see in the world, just let it go, and you're like, right? So we can get the analysis paralysis going on with Virgo energy, absolutely. And I'm a Virgo rising, so you know I know about that. And it's also can be the list, right? I'm making the list of like 10,000 things and I'm in so much analysis paralysis that the list is never ending, that's no way to be successful. So as the moon is transiting through this Capricorn energy, it's like, okay, what can I delegate? You know what? In my house and in my life, I have wonderfully beautiful children who are old enough to handle some of their things by themselves. While it is a gift and a privilege for me to do things for them, it is also entirely unempowering to them as need to go out and be adult human beings for me to do everything for them. So if I come to the Capricorn season in my life again and I've got a lot of stuff and maybe it's stuff that's come in from other people and I'm, whatever, I can say, whoa, hey, I need to hand you this for you to do yourself, or I need help. Can you help the team be successful by taking on this project? Also, what do you need help with, right? That is a very Capricorn question, because Capricorn will work it out. We will work it out. We will make this thing stable. We want long-term success around here. If we need to get the weekly schedule in order, if we need to get the financial schedule in order, this is where Capricorn energy can really shine. But ultimately, the one thing I think about with the moon in an earth sign is that you're really trying to have a lot of material stabilization as well, right? Stuff equals stress. And it just depends on what kind of stress you're willing to take on. But if the physical environment, your car, your home, my car, my home, my bathroom, my makeup counter is chaotic, it'll create an emotional destabilization. And I love this thing where it's like creative people are just really messy and they write messy, and I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. But for me, my external space, the stuff will equal enough stress that I can't actually design and create and flow and restructure what I need to in a material way to have emotional freedom. So it's a great time for you to say, what's going on in my material reality that may also be impacting my emotional reality as well, okay? All right, from there, we're going to see the sun get into an opposition with Saturn. Sun-Saturn opposition. Saturn is still retrograde. So we've got, these planets of motion, of initiation coming around and making contact with these outer planets that are also retrograde. So we do know that we are also in the realm of taking on old stories, even from our communities and our societies, that no longer fit us, right? So the sun opposing Saturn, the sun's bringing that light, heat, life, and vitality in this Virgo energy. Saturn is over in the vibration of Pisces retrograde, saying, okay, I showed you some things we need to be about. Now, as these two are opposing one another, one of the things that we can do is, remember, in the opposition, we want to find the sweet spot in the middle, because if not, they'll just keep pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling. And Sun and Virgo can get very critical, but it's critical of you, which immediately will turn into critical of something outside of you. And this is what my spiritual teacher calls the blame game, right? And I can go there. I can go there very quickly where I'm looking for something outside of me to explain the problem of what is going on internally, and the sun in Virgo can do that. So if we're feeling the pull of the opposition, it's going to go, this is your fault. This is because of that, right? And it's all this external push, right? Whereas we've got this Saturn that is also retrograde on the other side of that, being like, no, we are not enabling anymore. We're not enabling your poor behavior. We're not enabling self-condemnation. We're not enabling the you have to stop talking about it, be about it feature is alive and well here, and you're looking back at it. Now also remember, Mercury is retrograde, so this sun is also, right? You could have a whole illumination going on in this opposition of things from the past, of things that are, you're coming into the space of initiating, moving some things forward, and you find your edge, you find your space of resistance, you find something and you're starting to delve over that cliff of negativity, right? Create the integration between Saturn and the sun here. And what you can do is, first of all, get in your lane. Get in your lane. Get on your side of the street, right? Get on your side of the street. This is the this is a perfect use of that, because if you bring it back home, first of all, you create this integration of, okay, I need to be about it. I need to collect my responsibility, right? I need to see where I can affect change in my own life or in the situations. And also we bridge that together with that Virgo sun that really at a core level does want things to be the healthiest, the best, and in the best order. So now we have this sweet spot in the middle, and this is where we can affect and impact change in your own lives. Because first of all, what it does is, if I've got a part in what I'm doing, I can do something about that, right? If it's all your fault, if it's all the government's fault, if it's all the cat's fault, if it's all the fault of my parenting, if everything is the fault of things outside of me, there's nothing to be done. There's nothing to be done. So in order to affect this change, you may feel that opposition as we're traveling here through the weekend, and it feels like it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's really uncomfortable, and it's challenging your ideas, old ideas. Create the integration. In order to move forward, where can you affect your own change is a great way to use this particular aspect, okay? Now, I do think that we get a little weekend warrior to help us out as we get around here to Sunday, because Mars, our planet of action. Oh, this is beautiful. Mars enters into the energy of Libra. So this is the other side of our bookend. We came in emotionally in Libra energy this week, and we're ending on action. So when action and emotion come together, we can really affect a lot of change and do something really creative, right? Okay, so Mars comes into the energy of Libra, and we'll have Mars here all the way until mid-October. So the way that we are doing things, Mars, what we desire, peace, harmony, unity, beauty, the way that we maybe find ourselves engaging. First of all, it's in a way where we want to create collaboration, not necessarily just competition. You know, and Mars is not particularly comfortable in the energy of Libra, because Mars, even if you look at it symbolically, Mars has got his little planet and then the arrow pointing forward. I go towards one thing. This is where I'm going, right? And if you take Mars, no matter what you do, it's always just pointing at one thing or the other, right? It's not going in all sorts of directions. It's pointing at one thing. So as an energy that likes to just do this, to be in an air energy, which is naturally a double sign and does this, what we become in the availability with Mars in Libra is the ability to see all sides and feel overwhelmed and indecisive as we should take all action. Like, what exactly do I do? Because yes, I can see where this comes from, and yes, I can see where this comes from. right? So first of all, to know that that is normal with Mars in Libra, to sometimes feel indecisive about what to do, to feel very indecisive about the me and the we in a situation all at the same time. And let me explain that. I want to break that down because this is very real, and especially if you don't have this placement natally. It can be a situation, let's say like in a partnership, in a relationship, right? Where you're like, that is really making me angry. This is out of balance. This does not work for us. And you can see it. You see this perspective, right? This is one lens. But then at the same time you go, but you're a really good person. So I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm just saying that this doesn't work, right? And it becomes like this place where it's not decisive of, no. If Mars was in Aries, it would be like, we need to do this for this to happen here. It's very direct, so you can have this experience of that. And sometimes what that can do is create passive aggressiveness. Ugh. I've done it. I have Mars in Libra. I have used passive aggressive, and when I'm in a fight, then, with my husband or with one of my daughters, it's like, okay, I see how we got here. So keep this in mind as we are traveling. We do want peace. We do want harmony. We do want these things going on. But what we also can't sacrifice is shutting your own voice off, shutting your own action off. No, I'm not going to... If this is where you're at in your life right now, I am not going to just eat fast food because that's what's best for everybody. I'm going to just eat burgers. If fast food is the only option for us for some reason, and I am really trying to look after what I put in my body, I can decide not to just shut my mouth and have the cheesy corns, right? But to maybe get a side salad while we're at the fast food place. But I enact my own voice because that can be a challenge that happens here. So we're wanting to make sure that continues on as we're traveling with Mars and Libra. Now we've also got the nodes, and granted, this is Mars and that node are not close to each other yet, but in this vibration where we've had that imbalance of codependence, Mars will get some help and get to step into that vibration where it's like, yeah, it's okay for this behavior to fall apart because I now have a better space for interdependence in what I'm doing. Now, last thing I want to say is as we're dealing with this Sunday and we're dealing with Mars throughout this cycle, that truly the ability to find a win-win is a gift of this particular cycle. Because really, one party doesn't just always have to be right. Now, if we're playing competitive sports or it's something where there can be one winner, I'm not a big fan of trophies for everybody, but I have a South Node in Capricorn. Right? This can be a time where you're just going, okay, wait a minute. I'm needing to work with you. You need to work with me. How can everybody get done here what they need to get done? And that is a really useful energy as we're traveling this season, especially as we've still got Venus retrograde. Now we've got Mercury retrograde. We won't see them come out of retrograde for another few weeks. So in rethinking how we do things, and where everybody can win if that is the needed circumstance, this is a phenomenal energy to be working with. All right, my beautiful friends. I hope you have a gorgeous week. I look forward to hearing in the comment section down below how things went for you. And I also want to share this with you. The slides will be back. They will be back somewhere in the transition between Colorado and Spain. The slides for the weekly slides where you see the dates and things, we had some mess ups happening there, and thank you guys for pointing them out to me, right? I really didn't see them, and our VA didn't see it. So thank you. If you see something like that, please point it out to me. It's very easy to come into anybody's space, a creator's space, and be very critical of them and say you're not doing it right and be very, very nasty. And there was a little bit of that. But the people who give feedback of, oh, hey, you did something or you created something and this was inaccurate, that's going to have a different receptivity all the way. So the slides will be back. It's going to take us about a week because, we work things very far in advance so that we can make sure we keep moving with things. And so we've had a little blip. We're fixing it, and those will be back in a couple weeks for you guys, okay? All right, my beautiful friends, I love you. Please like this video. It helps the algorithm, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye, everyone.